Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Wednesday the 13th of March. So looking firstly at the news events coming out today, well, we've already seen the UK GDP data coming out, which came out pretty much in line with expectation. There was some industrial production data coming out, low impact data coming out that was a bit below expectation, which is not particularly great, but aside of that, there's very little else out today. Oil inventory is there at 2:30, normally 3:30, 2:30 today, so might get something on oil at that time. It's not a great deal of news. The sort of news that's hogging the there's a little bit of ECB sort of chatter, and actually a bit of UK chatter. One of the Citibank suggesting that Bank of England will start reducing interest rates in June, which ties in with the comments coming out for the ECB cutting rates in June, and of course the US are widely expected to cut rates in June. June's going to be a busy month where everyone cuts their rates by 0.25% probably. Anyway, so we've got very little fundamental going on for today, or key results coming out today. We've got no Fed speakers, so that at least that takes that away. So let's get on and look at the charts themselves, starting off looking at euro dollar here, and well, daily wise, he's just sort of flagging effectively consolidation. Maybe it's got some potential continuation here, but it's got the lower highs, lower lows coming through here. Maybe there's a channel. Actually, if I drew this slightly different, there's possibly a bit of a channel. There's a bit of a throw of a coin, really. It's a bit of patience needed to see which way it starts moving. The trouble is when it's like this, it's more difficult. You just get maybe a fake out, so a harder decision to be made. But I think you just have to wait until the direction, the decision's almost there. As they say, there's a hint towards the downside. Now, most of these other major markets are similar. So if we look at the pound, there's the sort of flaggy pattern coming in there. It had been running pretty strongly, but it's been coming off quite strongly here. Lower highs coming through. I quite like the fact that it's broken its weekly pivot, come up, retested the underside, that level there. And for me at the moment, this is probably the better potential if we sort of get a breakdown. Well, this 4-hourly bar is not going to finish for a while because it's weird timing, but maybe if we break it down post 8 o'clock, we'll see what happens here. Yep, it's alright. Put the timer on it and see if we can get a bit more of a run. Okay, it's really coming from that sort of 4-hourly picture. It might only just come back to its 4-hourly 50. Of course, we've got support sitting underneath there, which could be powerful in a quiet day, like news-wise, like we're seeing in these quiet sort of movements. Dollar yen, yen sort of, there's a lot of chatter around the yen, making it a little bit more difficult, but the markets aren't really doing too much with that chatter by the looks of things. This is just like an inverted euro or pound, effectively, with this price action at the moment. It's just recovering a little bit this morning, so is the pound and the euro. It's maybe one to steer clear of in terms of all the chatter that's going around it. Here's the Australian dollar. Looks like the pound and the euro, pretty much same sort of price action, same little sort of flaggy pattern. Okay, it wasn't quite as strong. Sentiment still remains weaker on this, but it's stronger in terms of technicalities here. It's above its weekly pivot, looking slightly stronger there. But again, well, it's a bit of a throw of a coin where it sits. So it's a patience game. The Canadian dollar, the inverted version, exactly the same. All this consolidation, same sort of not such a big flaggy pattern. Maybe this has got a bit more scope. on the upside with the soft sentiment that sits on the Canadian dollar. The New Zealand dollar, very similar-ish, although I was looking to see if we got the sort of this rejection into the yearly pivot, whether we would get a bigger correction. Well, it too is at the moment, well, this is actually pushing up a bit more positive than some of the other markets. It's above its daily pivot at the moment. Would need to see this sort of start breaking down below the pivots there. At the moment it's more shaped for intraday wise. It's classed more bullish because it's sitting above the pivot. This is going to be the same old it's the same old not really going to where. I mean, they're basically flatlining these markets. There's nothing to specifically drive them at the moment. The yen pairs, we're sort of talking about that, maybe a little bit more risk with a chatter, but I think that risk disappears as the morning goes on. There's not a great deal. The best option I'm seeing at the moment is this pound if it rolls over post 8 o'clock and starts rolling over it, providing I say just the pound rolling over. I'd like to see the euro and everything else rolling with it, so it's not just on its own. There's no reason for it to roll on its own. Effectively, I'm looking for a stronger dollar across these markets, and it's really a case of cherry picking, and I just prefer the way it's come back here underneath its weekly pivot. So that's my reasoning for this morning. Just coming back to see, this is above its pivot. The pound's the only one that's below its weekly pivot, and just looking that bit sort of softer. All got a similar-ish price action on. It's just where they are in shape. Okay, let's just look at the gold and oil. Gold first. So gold coming off a little bit here, back into its weekly pivot. It's coming through the other side. I'm just looking in terms of this is a bit more dynamic in terms of how it's come off yesterday. Sort of really got a bear flaggy sort of pattern going on here. It's got a potential for further downside potentially, but it's so close to the highs there, and you're sort of battling against something that's big. Yeah, there aren't many other signs there of weakness aside of the I mean, this is still positive on this 4 hourly picture. The daily picture, it's really the hourly picture that's the weakness in there. Of course, it's the softer of the strength. Oil, we got the figures out on oil later in terms of stocks. Again, ugly as sin. I'll leave it there because I'm fed up looking at it and seeing it just running through for God knows how many weeks now, really, without any sort of pattern. One thing that's still in a bullish mode is the S&Ps, and not far off from making it further new highs here. We could even do it this morning at this rate. Well, it's probably a lot to ask, but it is still performing quite reasonably well, pushing their higher lows, higher highs on every time frame, looking positive. As I've said a number of times with this market, it's just getting in at the right time. It's probably the opportunities have got to be taken on the shorter time frames at the right time. But choppy as anything yesterday when that inflation data came out, finally settled down. The rest of the markets are very much the same. The DAX, when we get to it, there we go, just this morning, just making another new high for this year, pushing on pretty decently yesterday. FTSE, well, it's flat at the moment this morning, but even that yesterday continued to push up there, but back into the prior highs there. Maybe at some stage I'll get a kicker out of that level as well. Seeing all the data showing these sort of potential cuts all for everyone in June, just levels the playing field and makes it all a bit flat, I think. Okay, right, afraid that there's not much else to say there this morning. I'd love to say there's a lot of other trades. As I said, the best one potentially on the short side is the pound. Maybe you could be playing looking for the opposite side of the trade on towards the long side, on maybe on the euro if it kicks off this morning. Okay, ending that there. I'll catch you guys on YouTube later. Bye for now. That's that.